We've been covering Trump's legal travails, including Aileen Cannon of the classified documents case here on TDR for what feels like a billion years. And obviously, Aileen Cannon has proven herself to be, with the possible exception of some of the people on the Supreme Court, the most biased, corrupt judge possibly in the country. And we've speculated for quite a while about why it is that she is so willing to do whatever it is that Trump's legal team wants in terms of the classified documents case, even if it's explicitly corrupt. People around the country laughing at how obvious the bias is. And we speculated, previously, well, he gave her the job, maybe this is payback, or, maybe she hopes she could end up on the SCOTUS or something like that. And we were not quite right, I don't think, about why it is that she was doing that. We also weren't that far off. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So I will remind you that she dismissed the documents case. She basically, used the Supreme Court previous decision to be like, well, no, I guess he can do whatever he wants, even though he's admitting he broke this law and it's explicitly illegal. Whatever, he can do whatever he wants. So that's good for Donald Trump. Why should there ever be consequences for crimes? But anyway, her payback, turns out we might not have to wait long to find out what she gets for doing that for Donald Trump, because Cannon's name apparently now appears second on a list of potential next attorneys general of the United States. So it's a position that is highly important. It's not often talked about by the media, but she's now second on that list. And why not? I mean, she's been a judge for a few years, and she did this one corrupt thing. And by the way, even if you think that I'm going too far by labeling the process as having been corrupt, every observer says it is, best case scenario, utterly bungled and inefficient. And she couldn't make decisions, and she didn't understand how to do the scheduling. She didn't know what she was doing. That's the cover story. I believe that she did, and it was corrupt. But the idea that, well, obviously she should be the top lawyer in the United States federal government is perhaps as laughable as her tenure as the head of the classified documents case. And yet she's on that list. And to be clear, she was added to the list after dismissing the classified documents case. It already would have been corrupt. It would have been corrupt in a different way. But this seems fairly obvious that this is potential payback. We don't know for sure that she'll get the job, but if she does, there is no plausible explanation other than that this is payback for helping Donald Trump avoid a term in prison for violations of multiple laws.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
What do you think, Francesca?
I mean, also she has more work to do, right? If she is the head of the Justice Department as Attorney General, then the Jack Smith case and other cases that have been brought against Trump, the Jack Smith case being the January 6th case, that completely goes away. So it's not just like, oh, thank you for your work. It's thank you for your service. I'm gonna still need you around. And not only that, but this is the top cop, obviously, who protects us from any kind of corruption coming within the government, within any branch of government, right? And it also helps us protects us from, let's say, oversight into police departments that are accused of rampant hate crimes or discrimination, things like this. This is massive, right? We're gonna talk about Vanessa Guillen, the soldier who was murdered by a ranking officer a little bit later. But these are the kinds of things that the Justice Department would be overseeing. Sexual assault in the military, right? I mean, this would be the person also who would, have something to say about whether it is legal or not legal to, say, provide abortion care for service members or have trans affirming care, like that. I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but like this is how we hold the swamp accountable. And for a guy who wanted to drain the swamp, no, you're going to put the person who just is like, no, everything the swamp does is A-okay. In fact, I love swamp, swamp queen here. And that's what this role would be. Yeah. Remember Jeff Sessions, right? Trump was so mad that he recused himself
100%.
over the Russia stuff because Jeff was like, I mean, I'm pretty implicated in this. And Trump was like, what do you mean? You are the law. And so that is the point. You want someone who is such a loyalist that they know they are the law and they have no responsibility to the American people. They have only responsibility to Trump.
Whereas Cannon, her debut was, I will not hold you all accountable for anything. It's actually very similar to Bill Barr. Bill Barr got the job because he sent a letter saying, oh no, president should be able to do whatever he wants. Like you could literally do anything. That is how corrupt this is. And I'll remind everyone as we close on this topic, like first of all, can you imagine if a judge on a case having to do with Joe Biden did this? And then Joe Biden's like, oh, well, no, I'm gonna make them AG. Come on. Meanwhile, by the way, so we're pointing out, here's our corrupt judge on the Trump side. Is dismisses the case, no consideration, no case, no looking at the evidence, anything, and might get a job in the administration. On the Democratic side, you have a judge whose daughter supported a thing that liked Biden. And that's obviously election interference. Not the judge themselves unilaterally dismissed a case and is now being directly paid back less than a year later with a cushy and important job. I mean, the disparity is absolutely maddening, which is perhaps why I have gone absolutely mad.